it's good to be with you again this afternoon. And just as a little bit of information, let me just tell you this, that most of us would be aware that we're hopefully winding down to some of the restrictions that we have placed on us as a church. And hopefully that will be going away before too much longer. Don't know how much longer. But we will be having a meeting Tuesday night to kind of discuss some things that we might need to do differently once we do come back together. Because I don't think when we come back together, it's going to be a thing where we can just open the doors and everybody come in and we'll return to what we normally were. There's going to be some restrictions that we're going to have to be careful of. And so we want to be mindful of that. And we just want to talk to some of the leadership Tuesday night to see what would be the best way for us to do it and what would be the direction that we need to go. Will that happen next week? Probably not. I was hoping it would. But it probably won't. So just as a matter of information, it's probably going to be the first of the month, or the first Sunday of the month, before we can at least consider strongly about what we need to do, but we do need to start laying some groundwork for it now. So as we gather tonight, thank you again for being with us. And as we gather, let's just think just a minute about something that I think most of us need. We mentioned this morning about some of the times we're in perilous times and how God wants to use us in different ways than we've ever been used before. And sometimes we just need encouraging. I guess all times we need encouraging. We've got a lot of people that want to beat us down. We've got a lot of people that want to discourage us. But there's just one little bitty simple verse that I want to look at tonight that I think would be good for us to be encouraged. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, and most of us already know that. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Are we willing? Are we ready to learn of Him? Are we willing to let Him use us? Then the last part of that chapter says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We're not here under some heavy burden to burden us down. We're here to give Him the heavy load, and let's leave here with a light spirit. Let's go to the Lord in prayer as we begin. Father, as we do come to you again today, Lord, we just thank you again for the opportunity. And Lord, as we look into this little scripture tonight, as simple as it is, but how real it is that we need to lean on you. We need to learn of you. And we need to let you bear our burdens as we go about the activities before us. Thank you again for the privilege of being here, the privilege of looking into your word. Guide us now that they will be your words. In your name we do pray. Amen. Amen. If you was to ask someone, or let me just ask you, if you be thinking about this, what is possibly the sweetest verse in the Bible to you? If you just had to conjure up some verse that's the sweetest verse in Scripture. Some people might would say, the Lord is my shepherd. And that would be great. I was great. The Lord is my shepherd, and what a wonderful thing that is. But then we might hear in John chapter 14, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in Him, believe also in me. Boy, I mean, those two are the most powerful verses that you could listen to, and that would be right. But then we hear the one also, that, lo, I am with you always. And then the last part of that, I will never leave you or forsake you. How sweet that is, how wonderful it is to know that's the God we serve. But to me, the sweetest one in the whole world, come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Come unto me. You know, it seems like just such a simple statement to come unto Him, and we make it so difficult sometimes to do that. Come unto Him, and He will give us that rest. What a sweet, sweet comfort in those words. What a sweet, sweet comfort. Know that we have someone that we can go to. You remember when you was a child at home? You remember when you'd fall down and you would skin a knee, or you would fall down and hurt yourself? And what would you want to do? You would want to go to mom or dad and be comforted by them. And you knew you always could go to them. I never went to mom and dad when I was hurt. I was hurt all the time. And I broke stuff, and I was always doing stuff I shouldn't do, so I was in trouble a lot. And I always went to them, and I never one time was turned away by saying, well, look, you're just got to learn better. Quit acting that way and you wouldn't get hurt. Never, never, never. They always comforted me. I knew I could come unto them, and I would get the peace that I needed. Well, our Heavenly Father far exceeds our earthly Father. Our Heavenly Father just exceeds all that we can even imagine when He says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. We need to do that. We need to make sure that we do all that because it is so comforting to have. So let's look at this tonight. Let's look at what we really can understand from this. Do we need rest? I would think all of us say, yes, we need rest. We need rest. With the society we live in, it's amazing. I'm doing a little thing for one of my sons wants to learn something about the way we were brought up and what we experienced as kids. So this thing that I forget the name of it now, that they send you a question every week. You have to answer these questions and they make it into a book form, and then later on you can see the whole thing. And so your kids will know from that point on what really you experienced. And the one I got last week was one that really kind of troubled me. What is the differences you see today that you did when you were growing up? Well, what is the main difference? And as I sat and contemplated that, I thought about a lot, all the differences, because there's just not enough room to list all the differences. So what is the main thing? What is something that was main to me? It may be different from you, but what stuck out in my mind as being the biggest difference? And it ended up being travel. You know, I can remember when we used to go from Bruton to Mobile was an overnight trip. It was something you didn't just go over for a couple hour visit, turn and come back. You went over there and spent the night, because back then, you know, I mean, if you was going 45 miles an hour, you was going pretty fast, and the roads were pretty crummy, and you had to go right through the downtown of every place. There was no interstate, there was no big roads or anything. You had to go where it's slow. And so we had to have that. Now, travel has made a big, big difference in this. And then all of a sudden, you know, here they go, they get the speed limit up to 55. Wow. Boy, go 55, we felt like we could go around the world in a day, you know. Well, that wasn't quite fast enough. You know, we had to up it just a little bit. In fact, not too long ago, Liz and I was right outside of Austin, Texas, and we got on a toll road of some kind. And it had a sign up there that speed limit reduced ahead to 80. The speed limit is 85 on that particular thing. My goodness alive, it's just, we need rest from all this. We used to get in little puddle jumper airplanes and be just thrilled to be able to go 100 miles an hour. And now we go 600 miles an hour and we gripe because it takes so long to get from here to there. We need rest because we have become so consumed with the things of today and the speed of things today. We need that rest. There was a time when we would come to church, no doubt about it, and we would not even want church to end. Now that's not true of young people and children. But that's true of the older people. When as a kid, you know, we always went to church to end so we could go outside and play. But as an older person, we used to come to church and never want church to end. We just enjoyed it so much. And after church was over with, we would visit neighbors. We would go sit on the porch. We would have a glass of tea together on the porch and visit. And I wonder sometimes, where did that time go? How has it got away from us? We need some time to back up and rest. Sometimes the song service might even last an hour before the preacher even preached. He would sing and sing and sing and sing. Somebody would pray, and the prayer would last a while. You know, we just had we were consumed with the worship of the Lord. Now then, what do? Let's hurry. Let's hurry up and get this done. You know, a preacher preaches for an hour and more. He better be under the anointing of the Spirit, or somebody's going to be asking him to hush. We are so consumed with making things hurry, making things quick, making things hurry up and get through. All this was said that we talked about was on Sunday morning. And what did we do on Sunday night? We turned around and went right back to the same thing. And it seemed like that it was okay to do that. But now then, let's hurry. Let's make it snappy. Let's get it going. I went to a church, it's been several years ago now. And it's kind of a strange thing. Their church was absolutely cut and dry. You knew what was going to happen to every second that you were in that church building. And we come time to the first service, I was there for the invitation, and got the music guy, and he said, okay, we're going to sing one verse of this song, and after we get through, Brother So-and-so, you dismiss us. In other words, we're singing one verse, you're going to dismiss us, and we're out of here. There's no way that we're going to let anything move or interfere. We've got to make it snappy. We've got to get here. What does he say, dude? Come unto me. Come unto me, and let me give you the rest that you need. And we hear David. David again is on, boy, how he's crying out. He was so much needed rest. He said, oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. How many of us have said that? Well, I just wish I could just get away. But folks, if we just get away and we carry our troubles with us, there's no rest. If we just get away just to change the environment, there's no rest for that. We need to make sure that we come to Him and let him give us rest. Here's that need. Every one of us stand in need of a rest at different times, but let's make sure the rest is a good rest, and it's rested in him, by him, for him, to do the work again for him. He says we have a need for rest. But then we serve a God that has that ability to give rest. You know, we might even think sometime in our heart, well, there's nobody that can give me rest. There's nobody. That's the reason I have to depend on Valium. That's the reason I have to depend on Xanax. That's the reason I have to depend on this pill. That's the reason I have to depend on that pill. There's nobody can do it. I have to have this to make me rest. God can give us rest. And when we're talking about rest, we're not talking necessarily about sleep. We're talking about resting in the situation that we're in. We've mentioned this over the last couple of weeks about the situation we're in, and it's not the most pleasant place in the world. And it is somewhat frustrating to all of us. But in the midst of all of it, he still has the ability to give us rest. He can give us the salvation. So if we can trust him for our salvation, why can't we trust him for the rest? He built man and gave him a mind. He built man and gave him a voice. He built man and gave him a heart. Why can't we trust him? Why can't we trust him to give us the rest that we need? But for whatever reason, we just don't. We trust him to heal the leper. We trust him to reach down and touch us when we're sick. We trust him to go do these other things. We trust him to heal the blind man that was so blind. We trust him to raise people from the dead. Why can't we trust him for rest? Why can't we trust him to just confide in him and say, God, I just need your rest. I just need what you're offering me, and that is rest. He promised to give it to us if we would just ask him for it. So we have a Christ that has the ability to give it to us. And who is invited to do that? This is how I like this. Who is invited to rest? He said, all, all. Come unto me, all who are heavy laden. And this is going to be something you can play with the rest of the day or tomorrow, this week in fact. Play with it. Define all. You ever thought about that? Just define the word. What does it mean? Let's look at it this way and give you an example. This will kind of make you think about it. Let's just say, for instance, that I'm standing up here and I have my arms out and I have all the $1,000 bills, or if they make a $1,000 bill, all the $1,000 bills I could hold in my arm. I had all I could hold. Could I hold one more? And your answer would probably be, yeah, you can put one more. No. If I could put one more, I didn't have all I could hold. All means there's nothing left for anything. I have all that I can do, all that I can do. He says all the people that come to him, he will give us rest. All of us. He will give the rest to us. And what's an amazing thing is that he can do just exactly that. And he invites us to come. Even if we're burdened down with sin. He invites us to come, let me give you rest. You know, it's really neat to try to talk to people that have sin in their lives, or maybe people that have never become Christians. And wonder why won't we confess it to the Lord? Why won't we just come and give back to him? Why won't we just say, Lord, you know, give me rest in this and this. And one of the things I think that's a hindrance to all of us is that one little thing we have to do. We've heard it, the ABCs of salvation. And that first A is what? We have to admit something. And it's not easy for us to admit. It's not easy for us to admit that we did something. It's not easier for us to admit that we have sin in our life. It's not easy to admit things. But I want to ask you, have you ever admitted something? And what was the feeling you had after you admitted it? Wasn't it a good feeling? Wasn't it good to understand that I had finally got it off my chest? I have admitted it. And then what do? We believe that he is the one that can cleanse us. He is the one that can cleanse the Christian from the sins that have been unconfessed. He is the one that can cleanse the sinner that's never been saved. He can do that if we do what? Just confess it to him. Just confess it to him. So he wants to give us that rest if we would just do that and believe on him and confess to him. And he wants to make sure that he invites us in. All those that are being conquered by something around us, the fear that we all have through this particular time, the fear that surrounds us, it seems like, he's, hey, come on to me and let me give you peace. Come on and let me give you some rest from all those fears. The health issues that are so prevalent among people today, things that we never dreamed of. Come to me and let me give you rest. Kind of a strange thing. I mentioned just a little bit about it, but I'll tell you a little bit more about it in detail now. That I started having some issues back, I guess about a year ago. And sometime prior to July, I guess in the middle of June, something like that, after the tests were all complete, and they come up with a determination. They said, okay, what we're going to have to do is go into your heart and change a valve in your heart. You've got a valve in there that's not good, so go in there and change it. Well, you know, you first would, okay, fine, go do that. Can we do that this afternoon? You know, can I go home after you get through, and not knowing what the situation was. So, no, it's going to take a week or so for you to be in the hospital. So they changed the valve. Everything seemed to be going good. Wasn't long after that, got into a coughing fit after I got home. Got in a coughing spell, real bad, coughing. During the process of coughing, broke the wires loose in my chest, plus broke 2 ribs in there as well. And I thought, man, come on, God. I mean, this is not what I had planned. This is not the way that I wanted it to do. Well, we kind of got that all settled down. It seemed like everything was doing good. Everything was doing somewhat better. One Sunday afternoon, I was sitting there at the house, and my son, who was a doctor, was over at the house just visiting with us. And he said, Dad, are you okay? And I said, sure, I'm fine. What's the story we used a while ago? Admit. Oh, yeah, man, I'm fine. Fine, what's mine? He said, I don't think so. Oh, no, I'm fine. I have no problem. No, let's just go check it out. We went to the doctor. I went to the hospital. I was just ravaged with infection. Everywhere you could have an infection, I had it. Ended up turning septic, and still was not wanting to admit anything was wrong. Still not wanting to admit that. So you see, it happens to all of us. That's the long story short. God, please give me rest. Give me rest in this. I need to admit to you that I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. I need you to come into my heart. I need you to come into my life and cleanse out this infection, cleanse out these things that are causing me a problem. Well, just as sure as there's a physical infection that can cause a problem, a spiritual infection can cause a problem as well. And just as sure as a physical infection can cause death, a spiritual infection can cause death as well. So we need just to admit that we have issues and come to Him. And I guess it kind of makes us ponder the question again that we ask, well, why don't we do that? Why don't we just come to Him that we can have that rest that we really need? We have those around us that are burdened down with every kind of sorrow that you can think of. And I mentioned it this morning, but the financial situation that some people are finding themselves in, you know, it just tears your heart out. And none of us really understand what the answer is, but He does. He does. So please, if you're having those difficulties, if you've lost any family members, if you've lost anything in your life, if you've just lost anything from your job or whatever, come unto Him and He will give you rest. And that's the reason He wants us to come, so that we can find that rest. He said, come unto who? Me. He didn't say, come into a particular church. He didn't say, come into a particular preacher. He didn't say, come to a particular place or creed that maybe the church has established. He didn't say any of that. He said, come unto me, all ye that labor. Come unto Him, and He will give us rest. So through this time that we're going through, troubling as it may be, let's go back to day one. Let's go back to when maybe we're not so afraid to admit, God, you've got me where you want me, God. You've got me that I need now to come to you. I need to come to you and admit things. I need to come back to you and just believe on you and confess things to you so that you can give me the rest that I really need today. Bring it back to Him and let Him do it. So the sweetest verse in the Bible, I won't argue with anyone that you may come up with, but to me there's not a sweeter one anywhere than come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. Come unto me and I'll give you rest. And so the question goes out to you today. Would you do that? Would you come unto Him so that He can give you rest? And I would hope that you would do that today. Let Him have the load that you've been trying to carry for a while, regardless of what kind of load it is. Bring it to Him and let Him give you the rest and the comfort that you really do need. Let's pray together. Father, again, as we look to you as your children, Lord, it's embarrassing to say that we do sometimes want to handle everything ourselves, and we don't want to give you the opportunity to give us rest. But Lord, we're coming to you and saying, give us rest. Give us peace in our spirit, peace in our hearts. I pray, Lord, that we would all understand your forgiveness, all understand what you really want to do. And Father, we all have that right to come to you. So again, we ask you today, Lord, to just give us the rest. Through this particular time and on, from here on, just give us rest. Give us peace in your spirit, that we may know you. In your name we do pray. Amen.